Dale Miller.
Here.
Nan Baker.
Here.
Trevor Macular, serving as an alternate for Dan Brady.
Here.
Nicole English, serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Shankita Walker, serving as an alternate for Lenora Lockett.
Here.
Mike Chambers, serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, great. We are now going to see if anyone has any comments on the minutes from June 29th, and if so, please speak. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 9th. Do I have a second?
This is Dale. I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Moving on to public comment.
Do we have any public comment at this time?
Okay, public comment once, twice, no public comment. Moving on to contracts and awards, new items.
First new item, item number BC 2020-384, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into a contract with MS Consultants, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $311,413 for engineering, inspection, and evaluation services in connection with the rehabilitation of the West 130th Street Bridge, number 02.26, over the East Branch of the Rocky River in the cities of North Royalton and Strongsville.
Nicole English with Public Works, and this is an award to a consultant to start the inspection and design of the West 130th Bridge. We received 11 proposals. We scored them with the Consultant Selection Committee. MS Consultants was the top-ranking firm that was selected. There was a 30% diversity goal that they did meet, and we're recommending this for award.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, item number BC 2020-385, Department of Workforce Development, submitting an amendment to a contract with Vantage Aging, Inc. for Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act workforce services to job seekers and support operations and administration services. And it's for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021 for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $12,210.
Good morning, Frank Brickner from the Department of Workforce Development. We're seeking an approval to put additional funds in place effective July 1st in the amount of $12,210 to provide sufficient funding through December 31st. We did procure Vantage Aging through a competitive RFP process. We are identifying a small amount of funding due to COVID-19 and that we've been closed because the amount is not needed as in the amount. I think their initial contract was $185,000. We're just adding $12,000 to get them through December 31st.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Are there any questions on this item from the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. The next item.
Next item, BC 2020-386, Common Pleas Court Corrections Planning Board, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into an agreement with the City of Cleveland Municipal Court in the amount not to exceed $432,120 for education services for the Domestic Intervention Education and Training Program, also known as DIET, and it's for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021.
Good morning, Marty Murphy for the Corrections Planning Board. This particular item is
both felony and misdemeanor level offenders. The breakout is approximately 53% felon, 47% misdemeanor. This item is markedly late, specifically because we had an audit from the state, the Bureau of Community Sanctions, late spring of 2019, where they made specific recommendations around what needed to happen with this particular program. We, the city of Cleveland, and the Common Pleas Municipal Court then went into process to evaluate what met the state's criteria for this particular training. Once that was completed, a negotiation with the University of Cincinnati. That was rather protracted. By the time we were wrapped up with this, we went to Cleveland Muni with the signed, with the unsigned contract. The administrative judge at Cleveland Muni did not return it to us until January. We then ended up in a situation with Lawson, where everything was closed down. It was quite difficult. We had issues with the system, and ended up in COVID, and that brings us to where we are today.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Trevor,
Mr.
second.
Dale, second.
Okay, seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
We're moving on to the consent agenda, item numbers BC 2020-387 through 392.
Okay, if everyone take a moment to review it and speak out if they have any questions. Does the board have any questions, any of the items? Give it another minute.
Chair, this is Trevor. Just one comment. I'm going to recuse because of 390. Got a family member at case.
Okay.
This is Nan Baker. I guess just to ask a question on 390. Does this contract start 6/1/2016? Is that what we're saying here? And it's going to be ending here in a couple of months unless we extend it to the end of the year?
This is Paul Porter from Health and Human Services. This contract originally started back on June 1st of 2016. This is the fourth amendment. So the most recent end date that we had on file is September 30th of 2019. We are working on an amendment that will cover calendar year 2020, but during the processing of that amendment, it was discovered that there had been another amendment done by the city of Cleveland in the meantime that extended the agreement to 12/31/19. That was not put through the review process though, and OPD instructed us to make sure this amendment, which was drafted by the city of Cleveland, went through the proper review process prior to us submitting the amendment for 2020. So this one's a little bit confusing just based on that timing. This only covers the time period of 10/1/2019 to 12/31/2019.
Okay, no additional funds. So will you be coming back January for more funding? Or-
Affirmative. The amendment that we're going to submit after this, Councilwoman Baker, will have additional funds and it will cover calendar year 2020. So I expect once this is approved, that will be submitted shortly thereafter in order for you guys to review that.
And if if I'm understanding you, Mr. Porter, are you saying that, we're gonna ask to approve beginning January 1st, 2020, which will already be 6 months late in that
Correct.
proposal?
Correct. That will be submitted as a separate amendment, separate from this one.
Is there a reason why we're getting these, requests so much in arrears?
Sure. Again, this one, we weren't aware of it when the discussions for the amendment for 2020 were occurring. That's why this one is so late. And I think part of the disconnect there is that
Right.
the other three prior amendments, the original and then the other prior amendments to this contract were drafted by the county. And this amendment itself was drafted by the law department from the city of Cleveland. I think that's where the disconnect came in.
Okay.
The amendment that will be coming forward after this, it was because there are three different entities involved, the city of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and Case. It was the product of lengthy negotiations between all three law departments. And I know they've been working on this since the end of 2019. And we were just given the okay to move forward with, submitting this through the review process last month. So I think it was just a lot of back and forth about how the program was going to look and what the funding was going to look like between all three entities.
And how long will the contract be, if you're already 6 months in the rears, starting in January? Because, you know, we can't do anything about what you're doing today. It's already
Correct.
late and you need the funding to the end of the year. But moving forward, you wouldn't think that we would need a new contract starting January 1st with these other, entities so that we can get a fresh contract starting when it should be starting? I mean,
That would be our goal moving forward, yes. The amendment that, will go in after this one is approved will be for calendar year 2020. And our goal is that any future amendments, or if we do a new contract, would be approved well in advance of that January 1, 2021 start date.
Well, okay. Thank you, Mr. Porter.
You're welcome.
Okay, are there any other questions from the board members on this item or any other item for the consent? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as noted. Do I have a second?
Second. This is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we have one recusal from Mr. McAleer. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Moving on.
We're moving on to other business. We have two mission-critical items that were originally held by the board members on June 15th. The first mission-critical item is from the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Department is recommending an award on requisition 48568 to Vance Outdoors Purchase for crowd and riot control munitions for law enforcement and corrections. And it's in the total amount not to exceed $24,466.50. And the funding source for this is the general fund.
Laura Sims for the Sheriff's Department. We had a meeting to discuss, briefing on this at the last public safety meeting, and we're bringing it back, as that it's for crowd control. This is things and equipment that are going to be required to properly defend and mitigate crowd situations. And so if we have any other questions, let us know.
Thank you, Laura. Are there any questions? First, I'm going to amend today's agenda to add this, we'll call Mission Critical Item number 3. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Trevor.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the item has been added to today's agenda. Are there any questions from the board on this?
Yes, this is Dale. Not a question, just a comment. I would like to thank the administration for the presentation that you made at the Public Safety Committee. And I was persuaded by the presentation that there could conceivably be circumstances where the use of this kind of equipment could be preferable to various alternatives. However, to express my sentiment as to how exceedingly cautious we should be about using this kind of equipment in a public demonstration situation, I'd like to be recorded as a no vote on this item and on the next one. Thanks.
Okay, duly noted. Any further questions from anybody on this item? Okay, with that being said, I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
This is Trevor.
I'll second, ma'am.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this item is approved.
Opposed.
I'm one opposed by Councilman Miller. Thank you. Yep.
Moving on to the next mission critical item, again, the Sheriff's Department, recommending an award on requisition 48568 to Pro Tech Sales in the amount not to exceed $16,595 for crowd control and riot gear. And the funding source is the general fund.
Again, Laura Sims from the Sheriff's Department. This is similar to the next one. We also discussed this at the public safety meeting. It is for for equipment and munitions to help in the incidences. And I would like to say, just in response for Mr. Miller, that obviously that this is stuff that we use as a last resort when other things can't be used, and that the Sheriff's Department does use any of this kind of equipment or these with very thought and deliberate precision before actually employing any of that. It's not something that we have used frequently, which is one of the reasons why we now have a time-sensitive mission critical, because we've had to come back and restock because we didn't have enough to continue after the last incident that happened a few weeks ago. So I just want to make sure that it is on record that we don't, deploy this willy-nilly. It is definitely a thing that goes through a lot of decisions and a lot of people making decisions based on experience and a great deal of training.
Okay, thank you, Laura. I'm going to make a motion to amend today's agenda once again for, we'll call Mission Critical number 5. Do I have a second?
This is Trevor. Second.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the item has been added to today's agenda. Are there any questions from the board on this item?
This is
Mr.
Nan
Chair,
Baker.
Nan, go ahead first, and then Trevor.
Thank you. I would like to reinforce what was just said, that of course we need to use good judgment. And I know that this has been given a lot of thought, and I appreciate the presentation that really took us to a place of understanding why this is needed. We do need to make sure that, our businesses, our constituents, our environment is safe, that it's not destroyed by those that want to destroy, and that our police officers should be given the ability to protect themselves so that they are already in harm's way, and if they're being assaulted, they need to take action to make sure that we are protected. That is their job, and I certainly do support this. I'm glad we had the further presentation in the safety committee, And, that further reinforces why this is so important. So thank you for what was just said. I think it was well said, and I support this, mission critical item.
Okay, thank you, Nan. Mr. Mackler, do you have a question?
I was just, we're on, it's number 5, right? Mission critical number 5. I just want to make sure it's the one that I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from any of the board members? Hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to approve Mission Critical number 5. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Nan Baker.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, opposed by Councilman Miller. Item approved. Moving on.
Thank you for your consideration.
Sure. Moving on, any other additional business?
No, not at this time. Do we have any public comment at this time?
I'd like to add, this is Paul Porter, Health and Human Services, following up on item 390. I pulled up the amendment that we will be submitting, and it is scheduled to go through the end of 2021. So I apologize for misspeaking. The next item will cover 20 and 21 both.
Good thinking, Paul. Thank you for the update. No other further public comment? Going once, twice? Okay. I'm then going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
This is Dale. I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.